Hey everybody. What a week. My God. I definitely made some tactical errors in my planning. Things that I was relying on to come through in time for the holiday, of course, did not. And then I was counting on those things, so I could have had backup plans in place. Always remember them backup plans. But I'm so glad this week is over. I'm looking forward to a new week. Today's been good. Had tested out some new recipes and they were really delicious. Garlic mushroom sauce, homemade shake and bake using Jiffy cornbread mix, Jiffy Roos, and then a lemon shake that was really delicious. But I just want to talk about something, ask about something. Social dynamics are very tricky. And people do play a lot of social games. And that's kind of the rub about anytime you allow someone into your life, whether you have to work with them or you want a friendship or lovers or what have you, music partners, what have you. You don't really know where they're coming from, and it takes a while to get to know people. So I used to say in the 2000s that I'm afraid of people I don't know. So things have happened in my life where I could say I'm afraid of some people I do know that I've known for a long time that just totally changed. But yeah, I had some pretty bad experiences this week in a situation where I can't get too specific about it, unfortunately, but it was not a friendship, personal relationship, but people that are in my life now, and they know each other really well, but I just met them, and I have to deal with them because of the nature of the why we are in each other's lives. And it's just kind of wacky when you start to see a narrative building about yourself that isn't necessarily true. Or the other truth that gets on my nerves is a lot of people, like I would say 90% of sneaky people use omission to get away with crap. And omission is a form of lying. If you know a truth and you pretend you don't, or ignore that you do, or mislead another person to thinking you don't when you do, you're a motherfucking liar. I don't give a shit what pretty dressing you want to put on it, a fancy ass word like omission. You're a fucking liar. You are fucking with people's lives. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself. You're lazy. You're just trying to get out of the moment. That's what you're doing. And people know it. Don't fucking think people don't see that shit. And these motherfuckers that do this shit think they're so goddamn slick. It's just, it's amazing and unbelievable. But yeah, I had a situation where I'm seeing a narrative get built where the first person I worked with in this relationship, some things happened that were consistent, and a lot of omission, a lot of pretending not to know what needs to be done, what's supposed to happen, and then just a lot of plain old leaving me waiting for hours at a time, not telling me what's going on. I'm gonna turn that down. So what sucks is now I'm dealing with a second person who's very close to that person, and now the same narratives are popping up. And it's like, sometimes in life you're stuck in situations, and I've noticed that people, I check my teeth are jacked up, are likely to sometimes exploit, take advantage if they think you're stuck. Like they come in and assess, and if people think you need them, sometimes they're more likely to fuck with you and start acting totally different. Like the initial person you were working around was more together and okay, and then once they get settled in and maybe take for granted their spot, I don't know if that's when it makes people start acting foolish and just not being okay. It's just really, the shit I'm dealing with is not okay. I wish I could explain more. My purpose to come on here was to ask a question, and then I realized it's impossible to really explain it and keep it vague, but I need to keep it vague. But yeah, have you been in, I guess the question I want to know is, have you been in that situation where you are new to a group, you know who you are, you know your faults, you know your blessings, you know your skills, especially by, I'm 55, I know when I fuck up, I know when I'm a bitch, and I know when I'm not a bitch, so I'm not going to be held responsible if I'm not intentionally being a bitch. And usually you have to really push me hard to see that part of me, and frankly these people have not seen it. They think they have, and they don't understand. I've been tolerating a lot of the mishmash gobbledygook nonsense. But yeah, a narrative. If the people you already know, you have certain interactions with them, and then you start hanging out with their friends or people that are close to them, and you don't even know them yet, but all of a sudden the same shit's happening, or they're doing the same shit to you, or they're putting you in the same positions the other person was in. Like that's what the rub is for me. People are so quick to say this or that happened to them, but it's very rare to meet somebody that admits their role in things. I try to do that because I want to improve myself. I don't like hurting people, so I that's my main motive for wanting to improve myself. I don't want to accidentally hurt somebody. If I'm pissed and something's really popping off, then no, I'm not as concerned about it, but you got to really push me for a few years before I get to that point with somebody. I never do that shit right away because you just don't know what people are going through. I'm constantly going through my mind of, maybe they've got this to deal with that, but you get to a point where you're like, well, shit, I'm not your psychiatrist. Why am I always trying to figure out? And it's pointless to do that anyway, because you don't, especially if somebody's just running game on you and they know they're acting wrong. But yeah, what do you think of that when you go to a new group and you have certain interactions with one member, and then another member, it's supposed to be a fresh start or whatever, and then all of a sudden the same shit's happening, but you're not really that person that they're saying you are, and you don't really have those issues in other parts of your life. What do you think's going on with those two people, with those people that in the group creating this narrative about you that doesn't really exist? It's not really, and they don't talk about their role. That's what also pisses me off about omission. Okay, please comment if you can. Thanks for listening.